Hi everyone, I'm Sarah. Welcome back to Next Updates with TLC. If you watch Sister Wives or just love the scoop, be sure to subscribe and thumbs up this video. There is always something going on, and today's story is one you won't want to miss. Meri Brown is at the center of a very serious drama right now. Even as tensions are brewing and she faces serious accusations, one surprise supporter has emerged: Gwen Brown. While others have distanced themselves, Gwen remains very close to her previous stepmother. What's truly going on? Let's break it down. Michael T. Brown has only recently come forward on social media with some startling claims against Meri. She said that Meri had been verbally and emotionally abusive to them as a child. Although she clearly indicated she cannot recall any physical abuse, she emphasized the long-term emotional scarring. According to Michael T., Meri changed her behavior only after they grew up, but the damage was already inflicted. Michael T. also discussed how her brothers and sisters also went through the same things, and the worst from Meri personally. However, she believed that the entire family endured at Meri's hands in one way or another. Peden Brown spoke after that, and he added more credibility to allegations. He didn't merely corroborate Michael T.'s evidence. He believed the word abrasive was too weak to use when describing what they went through. He claimed the verbal abuse was just part of Robyn's underlying issue. Much to his surprise, Peden added he doesn't harbor any bad feelings towards Robyn, who is Kody's fourth wife. In fact, he said Robyn opened the family's eyes wide with the truth and perhaps even helped to help Michael T. cope. Despite all of this, Gwen Brown has not dismissed Meri. In spite of everything that's been said, she still speaks to her. Her endorsement adds another level to the story. Why is Gwen endorsing Meri when everyone else isn't? Meri Brown is being heavily accused by former family members, but that has not prevented her from just living her life and sharing her story. More recently, she shared pictures of a trip to Boston, where she spoke at an event hosted by motivational speaker Mel Robbins. Meri said that she ended up staying over longer to look around more. And in 3 days and more than 55,000 steps, she says she fell in love with Boston. But what really piqued the interest of the fans wasn't necessarily the travel update. It was the comment left by Gwendolyn Brown. "Love the adventures," Gwen commented, showing clear support for Meri despite the harsh accusations presented by Michael T. and Peden Brown. That single comment said it all, indicating that Gwen is still keeping in touch with her ex-stepmom. Gwendolyn has already spoken about her tainted relationship with Meri. She has been honest about fearing her as a kid, but she's also insisted that she was never physically abused. On Patreon, she stated Meri was rude and mean sometimes, but she doesn't recall any physical abuse, except for an incident against Michael T. Even that, Gwen emphasized, only happened once. She also declared that she is a strong advocate of second chances, showing that she is willing to forget the past and move forward. As the family continues to deal with tension and pain-filled memories, another Sister Wives cast member finds love and peace in a new endeavor. Christine Brown, Kody Brown's third wife, has moved on with David Woolley. In a new social media video, David was seen helping out around the house. But what the fans caught most was his kind heart and his protector and nurturer status of young lives. Christine married David Woolley in 2023, and everyone is watching as she starts a new beginning with the man who seems to provide her with stability and kindness. As this family's journey continues, some of them are healing, but others are starting brand new parts of their lives. Besides their grandchildren, Christine Brown and Kody Brown had 6 children from their marriage that lasted for so many years. The two were married in 1994 and lived together for over 27 years before they actually divorced in 2021. 2 years later, in 2023, Christine got remarried and married David Woolley, a man with his own rich family history. David was previously married to his late wife Margaret, and together they had 8 children. They were married for approximately 20 years before her passing in 2012. David is most popular for running a drywall firm, but he has recently gained much prominence lately, especially with Christine, where the audience has fallen in love not just with his work ethic, but even his heart. In one of his latest social media updates, David was seen helping out at home. Having a busy weekend ahead, he was photographed pushing a decorative wreath from the front door to the side of the house. Why? Well, it appears that a bird had constructed a nest of eggs within the wreath. As David handled it very gingerly, Christine in the background was warning him not to handle the eggs and if they were still inside. David joked that they looked like they could be consumed, whereas Christine mentioned that they had spotted a few birds on Easter back in the nest. This brief moment revealed something lovely. A couple preparing for a lavish party, but pausing to be gentle with a vulnerable nest of life on their front porch. It's these small peeks into their everyday life that show the relationship between Christine and David is not founded on love alone, but shared values. Weeks subsequent, in the very same month, Christine and David opened their Utah home to Entertainment Tonight for a private tour. They acknowledged that they came forward about their relationship at the beginning of 2023 after purchasing their home together a few months after they began dating. Christine referred to the house as nice and cozy while taking the tour and mentioned that each room felt warm and loving, starting anew after years of pain and struggle. Christine and David's home is not a home. It's a building designed with intent, affection, and open-door hospitality. We want everyone who visits to feel loved and feel like family, Christine said. Stay here, hang out with us, talk to us. That welcoming attitude was on full display on their recent social media video, where they talked about ideas for hosting a big party. The couple certainly likes constructing a home that is not only functional, but also friendly in nature. During a past tour of the house, David and Christine spoke about how much they desired ample space to entertain. For them, the kitchen was one of their must-haves. What we are most concerned about is having a large, open space, Christine said to David. She recalled how David had, in the initial stages of home search, pointed out the importance of an enormous kitchen counter area to accommodate large dinners. With their blended family group and frequent gatherings, 2 ovens became a requirement as well. The moment they saw that house with just that, they knew it was the home for them. In the midst of all this new bliss and domestic calm, the grander story of the Sister Wives family continues to unfold. A saga of faith, conflict, and revelation. Amidst this complex and sometimes agonizing family dynamic, there have been some whose voices have screamed out with chilling claims, and others who have chosen the path of the forgiving and the compassionate. One young lady recently made headlines by standing up to her former stepmother, a woman formerly married to her father. Despite stern and gruesome charges laid against her by a fellow family member, she remained firm, which shows that her bond with Mary remains unbroken. Even while the controversy sparked public debate, this exhibition of loyalty revealed a deep emotional truth. Family ties, especially non-traditional ones, are complex. Wounds, yes, yet also abiding bonds, fortitude, and resilience that are typically invisible. One of the relatives, notorious for being frank and at times controversy-stirring on social media, took to the websites to share highly personal recollections that portrayed a harsh picture of her past stepmother. Her recollections, she described, were of a childhood shaped not by physical, but by verbal and emotional abuse. The home atmosphere, she alleged, was tense and demanding. Children were often left emotionally abandoned, exposed to harsh words that created indelible emotional scars. While she acknowledged that she could not recall any instances of physical abuse in her own experiences, she was firm about the psychological effect. From her perspective, the emotional and verbal abuse did not cease until the siblings grew older and beyond their stepmother's daily reign. From talking to her sisters and brothers, she felt certain that she may have been the primary target of the negativity. But it was not just about her. She emphasized that all the children in the household had been affected in some way by the emotional distance and brusqueness that dominated their family existence. Adding weight to these claims, one of her brothers stepped forward to vouch for her testimony. He refused to let the story be softened and swore that the trauma they experienced was much deeper than that resulting from family disputes. The then stepmother of the woman, he stated, could not be deemed just not nice. To him, the psychological pain caused during those years was deep, real, and lasting, something far more than words could ever describe. Together, they paint a picture of an imperfect yesterday that continues to echo in the present tense. They offer a glimpse into the vexed emotional landscape of a family that has been both welded and fractured by years of unrequited pain. And yet, despite all of this, some continue to cling to the possibility of reconciliation, In the wake of painful memories and open familial rifts, one brother reflected on his experience of being a child in a family where there had been emotional strife. Words had simply lost their meaning for him some time ago, no longer a way of communicating, but a cause of emotional hurt. However, though he gave a damning critique of one ex-stepmother, he was not bitter about another of his father's wives. He actually thanked her for enlightening the eyes of so many relatives and even suggested that she may have been responsible for bringing insight and strength to the sister who initially came forward with the allegations. His words conveyed a jumbled mix of emotions: hurt, awareness, and gratitude, all tangled up in the messy web of their shared past. Meanwhile, the former stepmother at the center of the storm has started a quiet personal process of healing. Rather than responding publicly to the storm of allegations, she turned inward. Recently, she gave a glimpse into this phase of her life by posting a series of Instagrams from a solo road trip up the East Coast. She described the city she visited as captivating, a place that revived her sense of awe and enabled her to rediscover her own autonomy. She's traveled alone before, but this trip was particularly transformative, offering emotional renewal after years of turmoil. A few of the most touching moments of her update were the words of affirmation posted by the young woman who has remained her friend through it all. "Love the adventures," she wrote, a brief note that spoke volumes. Despite the headlines, the allegations, and the ruptured relationships within their extended family, this relationship between them has remained firm. It's a quiet but firm testimony to loyalty, forgiveness, and the possibility of growth after injury. This young woman has been open about her difficult childhood, embracing the hurts and the fears of her life. And yet, in the same breath, she has chosen to look at the entire picture. One that does have pain, but also healing. Her acceptance is not a denial of the past, but a belief in second chances and in the strength of the human spirit to move forward, even after it has been broken. On this private forum, the young woman continued to disclose more about her background, offering a lavishly detailed examination of her relationship with her ex-stepmother. She admitted that, when she was younger, this woman was often a frightening figure in her life, a person whose behavior made her anxious and afraid. And despite these hurtful memories, she was certain that she was never physically abused, except for one incident involving her brother, the same brother who made the first public accusations. Her testimony painted a nuanced picture, one that didn't negate the pain, but didn't negate the possibility of transformation either. She embraced that, although their past was marred by imperfection, there is always room for change, healing, and redemption. To her, granting someone a second chance wasn't about forgetting, but believing in the possibility of better. In the still moments of everyday life, the deepest acts of love and kindness tend to pass without comment. But it's in those unrehearsed, small moments that the true depth of human connection reveals itself, especially within families trying to heal in the wake of past wounds. One such example lives in the life of a couple beginning anew, reinventing love, not just for themselves, but for the world around them. It is the story of a woman who once lived in the spotlight as part of a well-known reality television family. After years of emotional roller coasters, parenting, and volatile relationships, she found a new love whose gentle heart has been a sanctuary of peace and stability. Together, they've embraced a life that not only respects human relationship, but also the little miracles available around them, like the inconspicuous presence of wildlife that nests around their home. In a recent moment caught on camera, this couple made the simple decision to relocate a door wreath to protect a fragile nest of eggs, impulsively choosing caring over convenience. It was a reminder that love appears in the smallest acts, whether protecting something vulnerable or defending a new life. For them, and perhaps their immediate family members, this fresh start is a chance to lead with compassion, to start anew, and to rebuild something whole from what once was broken. After decades of navigating the complicated and often perplexing dynamics of a large blended family, one woman was finally able to turn the page on an entirely new chapter in her life. Once the third wife of a noted family patriarch, she had spent years managing public attention, private drama, and the ever-evolving roles of motherhood and grandmotherhood. But when her long marriage ended, she didn't step back. She stepped up. It was in this new phase of life that she met a man with his own remarkable tale. A man whose heart had tasted both remarkable love and overwhelming loss. He was married to a devoted woman for over 2 decades before destiny tore her away. They had created a large and loving family together. His benchmark for loyalty, strength, and emotional intelligence. Professionally, he had made a name for himself in the construction business, a line of work that was a reflection of his solid, dependable nature. For her, this stability was new and gloriously welcome. Their courtship was swift, but not rushed. In each other, they found not only love, but peace. A rare kind of peace born of common values, mutual respect, and hard-won wisdom. After months of drawing nearer, the act of getting married was less a jump and more a natural step along the course they were already taking. They built a new life together in a quiet neighborhood, where the quiet of the surroundings reflected the quiet that they were building within. But even in the most ordinary moments, life reminds us, in subtle ways, of its subtle miracles. In a recent viral social media video, what started out as a simple video of a day at home turned into something so much more significant. The husband was seen moving a door wreath to the side of the house, a relatively normal task, until the reason became clear. Concealed in the wreath was a tiny bird's nest, holding delicate eggs about to hatch. Rather than risk disrupting them with the heavy weekend tourist footfall of traffic, he respectfully relocated the wreath to a safer position. It was a small gesture, but one that spoke volumes. This rescue was not just about rescuing fragile eggs. It was a moment that encapsulated everything that this couple had come to love about each other. Mercy, respect for life in all its forms, and the importance of creating a space where even the tiniest lives can flourish. In many ways, it was a mirror of their own lives. Two people who had weathered storms, carried the wounds of past pains, and still chose to nurture something new and hopeful together. While the two busied themselves preparing for a weekend party, stringing up decorations and readying the house for a horde of guests, something unusual caught their attention. While filming a mundane moment near the side door, the camera gradually panned across a holiday wreath on the door. Initially, it appeared to be another festive decoration, but hidden among the leaves and twigs was something amazing. A tiny, well-hidden nest containing a brood of fragile eggs. They reacted instantly and softly. The woman's voice lowered involuntarily, respectfully, as she whispered, "Don't disturb the eggs." There was awe in her tone, a realization that they were witness to something quietly extraordinary. Her husband, laughing gently, said the eggs resembled those they discovered at Easter, a bit of humor that did not diminish the concern and caution both clearly felt. They recalled how, just a few days earlier, small birds had been flitting about the wreath. And now, it was clear. A new life was taking shape right at their doorstep. In the middle of preparations for a joyous celebration, they received a reminder of the quiet miracles that were happening all around them. Knowing that the upcoming party would result in a stream of persons through the entrance, the couple made their decision carefully, tenderly. With respectful hands and thoughtful consideration, they relocated the wreath and the nest to a less active spot away from the path of the turmoil, so the tiny lives therein would be safeguarded and not be disturbed. This small moment, shared publicly online, was more than a glimpse into their weekend project. It was a reflection of the values they were building their life around. Their home wasn't just a place to sleep or entertain. It was a sanctuary, purposefully created to be warm, welcoming, and respectful of all life. A few months earlier, the couple had given a leading media outfit a full tour of their home. The home, set in a secluded area ringed by rolling hills and fresh air, was more than an address change. It represented their new life, a life together built on kindness, respect, and deep emotional renewal. The woman explained that their home was one where every person who walked through the door should feel loved, noticed, and part of the family. Others, to this couple, it was the world. It symbolized a deep change, from chaos to peace, from old wounds to tender acts of healing. Their home was more than paint and bricks. It was purpose-founded on love, acceptance, and the hope that every individual who enters the building leaves just a little more whole. At home, on their home tour, the woman spoke candidly. "We want each room of our home to say, 'Welcome. When you come here, you're not a guest, you're family. Stay, relax, Talk to us. That welcome poured out into every room. From the warm lighting to cozy seating, every element was intentional, designed to make others feel seen, safe, and at ease. Nowhere was this truer than in the kitchen. It wasn't just where the food was made, it was the heartbeat of their gatherings. With loads of room, a large counter, and 2 ovens, the room was designed to serve. Her husband had envisioned all of it from the beginning, insisting that they have room enough to welcome a full house. And he was right. This kitchen, and the house that surrounded it, was a love letter to gathering. But under the beautiful surfaces and thoughtful designs is something even deeper, a journey of rebirth. This couple didn't so much fall in love. They chose to rebuild, to celebrate the paths they had traveled before, yet go boldly into something new. Her past as a wife, mother, and grandmother of a large, non-traditional family was filled with joy and travail. His story, grounded in resiliency after loss, brought resolve and gentle grounding. They've put together not only their lives, but their families, their dreams, and their recovery together. Theirs is a quiet, hearty, compassionate love. Not an erasing of the past, but a respecting of it, a learning from it, an employing of it as a building block on which to construct something new. So when they moved a bird's nest to protect a fragile life, it wasn't for the birds. It was a small, powerful echo of the life they're making, one where empathy leads, where love protects, and where everyone, no matter how small, is given a chance to grow, where everyone is made to feel welcome, accepted, and loved. Their home is not just a house, it's a sanctuary built on understanding, where love is nurtured and memories are made. The decision to protect a tender nest of eggs for a large family gathering is small-minded to some, but it's a lovely display of the care and consideration they put into all things. It's a quiet demonstration of the value they put on life, on being respectful to nature, and on family and community. This celebration was not just a celebration. It was an outpouring of their love to bring together the people they care about, to make new memories, share laughs, and strengthen bonds. To them, family has never been blood. It's about moments shared, empathy, and being present for each other. This reunion was an extension of that conviction, a living embodiment of connection's strength and the beauty of gathering. As they gingerly transferred the nest and rearranged the ornaments within its reach, they imparted something valuable to all of us. Real love, whether for a spouse, a child, or a parent, or even for the tiniest existence beyond your window, requires effort, time, and protection. It blooms not in drastic action, but in the small, intentional gestures of care. Their story continues. With every page, we see the beauty of healing, of new beginnings, and of traditions lived in the moment. The mother and grandmother's journey continues as a classic, but now it's elevated by marriage to a partner who honors and respects her history while helping her build a future filled with peace and purpose. Together, they are creating not just a life, but a legacy, one made of determination, dignity, and love that will not be apologized for. And in those little moments, a ruffled nest, dinner at the table, a laugh together, we see glimpses of how remarkable that legacy is. Christine Brown, one of the members of the notorious polygamous family, has gotten a new lease on life. Behind her are years of managing the dynamics of multiple wives, big families, and existence under the public eye. But she's found happiness with a man whose steady presence and kind heart mirror her own resilience. Together, Christine and her husband David have created something special. A home where warmth seeps from every nook and cranny and where every guest feels like family. When you come here, you're not a guest, Christine said to a visitor on a recent tour. You're one of us. Stay with us. Talk to us. Their home, with its large kitchen and affectionate touches, was chosen with parties in mind. Because to them, love is best joyfully expressed in shared meals, laughter, and long conversations around the table. David, always practical and kind-hearted, made sure they had double ovens and ample counter space to serve up the many hearts they eagerly anticipate hosting. But it's in the small, spontaneous moments that their love story unfolds. The couple, while preparing their home for a family bash in recent times, found something amazing. A bird's nest tucked away inside a door wreath. Small eggs nestled in the leaves there. Instead of ignoring it, Christine and David made a quiet yet telling choice. They gently moved the nest to a more secluded spot, protecting the vulnerable life within from the soon-to-arrive horde. That small act was all the world could say. It wasn't just about birds or trinkets. It was about how they live, with attention, intention, and respect for all life. And it was an extension of the same care Christine brings to her relationships, with her kids, her grandkids, and even with those who've wounded her in the past. Because as recent history has shown us, the path to healing isn't easy. In the midst of tumultuous family disclosures, there has arisen a young woman, openly speaking in support of Christine, her former stepmother, with stained emotions. While another family member made public headlines about childhood emotional struggles, this young woman spoke otherwise. She acknowledged a moment of fear and strain, but also expressed a feeling of hope in change, second chances, and the redemptive power. Even with scars and healed over wounds in sight, love finds a way. Christine herself has made quiet steps towards healing, posting glimpses of solo excursions, a laugh or two, and growing independence. With David, she's relearned not only how to be loved, but to love with joy, security, and peace. Their life today is a lovely mix of yesterday and today, of keeping old lessons in mind, but opening up to new possibilities. It's about being present with one another, even when it gets difficult. It's about laughing without bounds, loving without bounds, and living in ways that are as generous and kind as they wish the world would be. This is not just a love story. It's a restoration story, a healing story, a faith story about the possibility that, amidst heartbreak, anything can yet bloom. Their home is a place where tales are shared, smiles ring out, and new pages are opened. From relocating a bird's nest to throwing tearful parties, Christine and David show us that family is not just a static unit. It's a dynamic bond created by love, respect, and the small but meaningful actions of caring for one another. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel for daily updates. I'll catch you later.